Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna-vadanam ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupine Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Me Sada Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Dhyanamoolam Gururmurtihi Puja Moolam Gurupadam Mantramoolam Gururvakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripaha Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. My humble prostrations to the lotus feet of my Pujya Gurudev, Pujya Sadguru Sri 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 Sai Kumar Ji, and namaskars to Ashrams Uttaraadhikari Sri Kirtima Ji, and Sai Shiva Hari Om to all of you. A very warm welcome to this session. In the last session, we had discussed the second chapter, and today's session, we're entering the third chapter, Karma Yoga, the Yoga of Action, which contains 48 slokas. First, let us know the important points discussed in this chapter. This chapter deals with detached performance of prescribed duties, which is the best way of life. Then it discusses about yajna. What is yajna? The significance of yajna in the world, and the different yajnas which man should follow in his daily life. Then the third point is Sri Krishna talks about the sage of knowledge, the wise man, and God, who work for the good of humanity and the creation. Then, fourth point, he differentiates the wise and the ignorant, urging them to work free from attachment and revulsion. Then, lastly, Sri Krishna talks about Kama and Krodha, the twin enemies, and the means to conquer them. Bhagavad Gita is a Mahakalpavruksha, wish-fulfilling tree, sowed by Sri Krishna himself, nurtured by Vedavyasa, and the sproutings and flowers are the Mahatmas. And the fruit, moksha, originating from it is acquired by many Mahatmas, and they have been liberated free from sorrow and misery. The Bhagavad Gita belongs to one and all. There is no discrimination of caste, creed, religion, nationality, or gender. From the tiny ant to man, everybody, every creature is seeking for happiness. Nobody wants to live in sorrow. Everybody wants happiness. But we are unable to find the true path to happiness. All of us are living in this ocean of samsara, but what we need is the right direction. The first and foremost thing that man has to think in life is, where is my destination? What is my goal? In the last session, we had discussed that Arjuna was suffering with 𝘠𝘪𝘆, the disease of worldly afflictions, and Sri Krishna administered the potential medicine of the Gita. We too, like Arjuna, are suffering from 𝘠𝘪𝘆, forgetting that we are the embodiments of the Atma, that we are Atma Swarupa, is the greatest disease, and Bhagavad Gita is a strong medicine that can cure this disease of 𝘠𝘪𝘆. It is strength and strength alone that we want, and the first step in getting this strength is to uphold the Upanishads and believe in that I am the Atma, said Swami Vivekananda. So first thing is, we need strength. That means we need fearlessness, we need courage, and we should know who I am. The difference between God and man is, God gives and forgives, but man takes and forgets. God has given us this invaluable human birth, and He forgives us for all our wrongdoings. It is our karma that we are suffering, but it is not bestowed by God. He forgives us. Count your blessings, then you will know how far you have reached. Whereas man takes and forgets. We have taken this human birth and we are forgetting from the source where we have come. This is the difference between God and man. Arjuna is in a confused state. He asks Sri Krishna, why are you placing me in this field of action in the midst of this dreadful battle? When you say jnana is superior to karma, knowledge is superior to action, why are you asking me to fight? Then Sri Krishna explains about the reaction-free devotional work, and that is karma yoga, and clears Arjuna's mistaken idea that all work is fruitive and leads to bondage. Krishna says, actions can either bind one to this world or liberate one from it. Undertaking actions for the pleasure of the Supreme without selfish motive, one can be liberated from the law of karma, that is action and reaction. What is karma? Karma means action, action and reaction, and attain transcendental knowledge of the self and the Supreme. What is karma? Karma means action. Everything that we do is karma, is action. Without action, we cannot stay even for a minute. Even our inhalation and exhalation, that this process of breathing that continues 24 hours a day. So we cannot be free from action even a minute. This is continuing day in and day out. So nobody can stay away from karma. Even the aspirant who wants to renounce the world has to do some sort of work. He has to do karma. Without karma, he cannot survive. As the Gita says, niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jyāhyohya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddhyeda karmanaha. Do the prescribed duties of the Shastras. Engage yourself in obligatory work. Even the mere maintenance of your body would not be possible without action, without work. This is the meaning of the sloka. Bathing, eating, sleeping, they're all obligatory duties. It is known as nitya karma. Nitya karmas. They are indispensable for a robust living. One should not remain satisfied by just doing nitya karmas, by just discharging these obligatory duties. These nitya karmas can help the body keep fit. They are an aid which help us to travel in the journey of life. Krishna explains the difference between karma and karma yoga. What is this difference between karma and karma yoga? Any karma, good or bad, bind them to the world. Any karma binds us to the world. Be it punya karma or papa karma. What is punya karma? Punya karma is that where you do all noble deeds, good deeds, virtuous deeds. That is punya karma. And what is papa karma? All negative deeds, all sinful deeds, all evil deeds. Both are like handcuffs. When you do punya karma, you are handcuffed. What is that handcuff? It is golden handcuff. And when you do papa karma, it is an iron handcuff. Whether it's punya karma or papa karma, you are handcuffed, whether it is iron handcuff or golden handcuff, but you're bound to the world. So while executing work, one should do it as an offering to the Lord. Day5 bhavana. You should have that attitude that you're offering everything to the God. Such a karma becomes seva or karma yoga. Doing karma with the thought of I and mine, egoism and attachment, the sense of doership, is karma, action. And you expect some results from it. You want to gain something from it. That is karma. But doing actions without the sense of doership, without any expectations, without the sense of I and mine, without egoism, without attachment, that is karma yoga. So Arjuna tells Arjuna, Sri Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, it is your prescribed duty to fight. That's all. Don't think in terms of, will I win the war? Will I lose the war? What will happen to me? Don't think. Just fight the war. And ma manusmara yuddhya. When you fight the war, remember me and then fight the war. Fighting the war is not great, but remembering me and fighting the war is great. Such an action becomes karma yoga. As a Kshatriya, Arjuna's duty was to fight. Now, karma yoga, there's a beautiful story of King Janaka, who was a karma yogi, and at the same time a jnani. A jnani can only be a karma yogi. King Janaka was such a jnani that he was always immersed in the self. He was unattached to all his duties and he performed all his obligatory duties as a rightful king, but he was unattached. He lived like a drop of water on the lotus leaf. Yajnavalkya used to preach the knowledge of the Brahman, Brahma Jnana, in his royal palace. Many sages and saints, anchorites and people from the kingdom would gather to listen to sage Yajnavalkya's teachings. While continuing with his sermons, Yajnavalkya's gaze would be fixed only on King Janaka. He used to always gaze at King Janaka. It was as if he was preaching that only to King Janaka and none else in the assembled hall. So all this, the anchorites who were sitting in the hall were hurt. They thought, what is this? Yajnavalkya, sage Rishi by Yajnavalkya is just gazing at the king. We are anchorites, we have renounced the world, whereas sage Yajnavalkya, King Janaka, is a grihastha. He may be a king, but he is in the Grihastha ashrama. We are greater than him. Why doesn't he look at us? We are neglected, they feel. So again, they think, oh, maybe because Yajnavalkya's gaze is fixed on the king because he wants to give her his favor. He wants to gain his favor and gifts. They felt that they were being insulted by Yajnavalkya's behavior. They thought, there is no use sitting here. The sage is not even looking at us. The omniscient Yajnavalkya grasped their thoughts and wanted to teach them a lesson. By his yogic power, he let the city of Mithila burn in flames. All the ministers, soldiers, people started to flee from there. They were going hither and thither. Some entered the satsang hall and screamed aloud to empty the hall as the blazing fire was spreading widely. Within seconds, the flames were visible in the hall and everyone started running from there to escape the fire. Even the ascetics, holding their kamandalu in one hand and in the other their deer skin, got up from their seats and started running. It was only King Janaka who did not move an inch from his place. Nothing disturbed him. He was calm, cool, serene. Nothing disturbed him. Sage Yajnavalkya was just gazing at him. After some time, Sage Yajnavalkya said, Maharaj, the city of Mithila is in flames. Please tell your men to put off the flames. To this, did you know what answer Janaka gave? Oh great Rishi, what should I do if the city of Janaka is in flames? I do not belong to this city. I do not belong to this body itself. So what talk about the city? Oh great sage, I am not the body. How can I belong to Mithila? Even if the fire burns my body, it cannot do me any harm. After hearing the king's statement, by the power of his yoga shakti, Yajnavalkya put down the burning flames. Yajnavalkya was immensely impressed with the king's words. After the fire was doused, all the ascetics and the people returned to the assembly and sat in their respective places. This incident was an eye-opener for everyone who gathered there. It was then that Yajnavalkya asked the group of sages, "O sages, please let me know who has renounced the world and who is attached to it." Then they understood their folly, bowed down to the king and sage Yajnavalkya and accepted their ignorance. Even nature, this is how King Janaka ruled the kingdom, unattached. Even nature in all its splendor is rendering so much selfless service to mankind. The mountains, hilltops, trees, and rivers, they all balance the ecosystem and prevent recurring calamities and catastrophes. The trees, they get soaked in the rain, they get scorched in the hot sun, they are blown by the wind, they bear the biting cold of the winter, yet they are firm and steady, they stand still. They bear all this and they give everything what they have selflessly to mankind. Because of the trees, a survival is made easy on earth. They give their fruits and shelter to the birds and wayfarers. They sacrifice everything, their leaves, their bark, their branches, their roots, everything what they have. And this is how we are surviving. Trees absorb the cosmic energy from the ethereal skies, from the branches. From its branches, it absorbs the cosmic energy, and from the nether worlds through the roots. And all this cosmic energy, it transmits to that person who gets connected with the tree. And Sai Gita Ashram has such wonderful, magnificent trees. It is an abode of the celestial trees. Sages aspire, our Sadhguruji says that even sages aspire to be reborn as trees because they want to serve mankind selflessly. It is trees only that do action selflessly. Now take a burning candle, the example of a burning candle. What does a burning candle aspire for? To illuminate the surroundings. Even so, sages aspire to take the birth of trees to illuminate mankind with all the energies they have possessed. They transmit it to man who comes in connection with the tree. Rivers keep flowing, winds keep blowing, the sun, moon, stars keep shining. This is how we are able to survive in this world. They all do it for the welfare of mankind. The cow gives us milk. It eats the green grass and gives us milk. When the calf is suckling its udder, we push away that calf and keep a bucket to collect the cow's milk. We are selfish. We want everything for ourselves. But do we think what service we are rendering, what action we are doing other than obligatory duties, other than our nitya karmas? Are we doing anything to the society? Nothing. We don't do an iota of service without expectation of results. When we are expecting result, it becomes karma. When we don't expect results, it is karma yoga. And we do it with Day5 bhavana. When we offer everything to the will of God, it becomes karma yoga. Look at the tiny ants. The tiny ants keep on digging the soil. They keep digging so much that the heat underneath the earth, the heat generated underneath the earth is brought out. And that heap of sand is occupied by the termites. See what service it is doing. It makes a dwelling place for the termites and brings out the heat from the earth. As we all know, even Shirdi Sai Baba did so much of action, so much of karma yoga. He ground wheat with his own hands. He planted trees with his own hands. He watered them with his own hands. He nurtured them with his own hands. And he served the lepers. He washed their wounds. He applied herbal paste on the wounds and bandaged them. He took so much care of the lepers. Not only the lepers, the sick and the needy, he was at the beck and call. So this was how Shirdi Sai Baba rendered his karma. Now what about Krishna? Krishna was a cowherd boy. As a cowherd boy, he used to take the cows for grazing. He used to clean them, wash them. He used to clean the cow shed. He used to do everything. All the menial jobs Krishna used to do. As a charioteer of Arjuna, after the war ended on the day, during twilight, he used to take the horses, give them a thorough wash, clean them, and heal their wounds, apply herbal paste on their wounds, and then feed them with boiled gram. This was what Sri Krishna did. Not only this, when Yudhishthira ascended the throne after the war, he performed a great Rajasuya Yaga. And in the Rajasuya Yaga, Sri Krishna was given the highest form of worship. He was offered the highest form of worship. In spite of that, Sri Krishna removed the soiled leaf platters of all the devotees who partook food in the leaf platters during the Rajasuya Yaga. See, when we have a party at home, what we do? All the plates, we say, Ayama, come on, remove the soiled plates. We wait for the Ayama to come and remove. But Sri Krishna did not do that. Yudhishthira was a king. There were so many maidservants, but Sri Krishna himself removed the soiled leaf platters. What a great lesson to learn from Sri Krishna. He worked as a potter in Gora Kumbhar's house. You know Gora Kumbhar? He was a potter by profession who lived in the village of 𝘕𝘠𝘪𝘵 in Maharashtra state during the 12th and the 13th century. He was an ardent devotee of Lord Vitthal, and even while working with the clay for making pots, his mind was immersed in Lord Panduranga. I'll tell you in a very short form. Once he happened to chop off both his hands because by mistake his hands touched his two wives, because his wife had taken a vow that he should not touch her. So mistakenly his hands touch his two wives. So he chops off his hands. And from that day onwards, he was not able to do the work of a potter and make clay pots. And there was no business. There was no money with him. The family was suffering. At that crucial time, Sri Krishna, in the disguise of a laborer, enters Gora Kumbhar's house and works as a laborer, makes the clay pots, takes it to the market and sells them, earns money and brings it back and hands it over to Gora. Not only this, he took care of Gora's sundry jobs. He bathed him. He fed him with his own hands. He did all the menial jobs in the house. So this was how Sri Krishna did his karma yoga. Not only Gora Kumbhar, even Sakubai. When Sakubai was, she was an ardent devotee of Lord Panduranga. She wanted to have the darshan of Pandharpur. So she was desperately praying to Lord Panduranga. Her mother-in-law was not allowing her to go to Pandharpur. So Sri Krishna comes in the form of Sakubai, and he sends the real Sakubai to Pandharpur, and in her place, he stays in the house in the form of Sakubai and renders his service to Sakubai's husband and mother-in-law. See, so much pain the Lord takes for his devotees. This is how the Supreme Lord, through Nishkama Karma, showed mankind the importance of Karma Yoga. Now, Sri Krishna talks about Yajna. In this chapter, Sri Krishna talks about Yajna. What is the meaning of Yajna? In general parlance, when we say Yajna, we think the Havan Kund, we think of the Havan Kund and the fire blazing from it, and we put all the oblations and offer all the oblations into the fire, and we invoke a particular deity, a specific god, and we put all the oblations into the fire. This is Havan for us. Yes, this Havan is needed. Like Karma 𝘠𝘠𝘠𝘠 𝘠𝑑𝑦, Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, beings are born from food. and food is produced from rain. Rain arises from yajna. Yajna is born of action, and action is born from Vedas, and Vedas is born from the imperishable Paramatma. This is the Dharma Chakra. This goes on and on. So, from this we can understand that Paramatma is dwelling in yajna. The Creator introduced several types of yajna to help man in his journey of life. Devan bhavayata te deva bhavayantu parasparam bhavayanta paramapsata. Nourish the devatas with yajna, and they shall nourish you. Thus, nourishing one another, devatas and men, you shall attain the highest good. What does the highest good mean here? Highest good means once you perform a yajna, you are blessed with whatever you desire for, be it children, be it prosperity, be it wealth, be it health. Along with this, the highest good means you are blessed with liberation too. Liberation. A person who enjoys all the material comforts and pleasures without offering to the gods is indeed a thief. He is said to be a thief. Now, God has given everything to us. When we have got everything, in turn, we should offer it to God and then enjoy whatever we have got. It is not only food. Everything we have, money, enjoyment, treasure, whatever it is, first offer it to God. God, in the sense, literally does not mean only the devatas or the supreme God. You have to offer it to those who are in needy, to those who need help. Sai Baba said, Shirdi Sai Baba, give clothes to the naked, water to the thirsty, food to the hungry, shelter to the homeless. Yajna means, this is yajna, serving mankind. It is the duty of each one of us to offer a little from whatever we possess, from whatever we have. But those who earn, spend, eat and enjoy only to meet their selfish ends, verily eat sin. When any action is performed, it may be great action or it may be a small action, without any selfish motive for the service of humanity, it becomes a yajna. Yajna yields all the good things that man needs in his journey of life. Yajna is an act of purification. We perform the Saptaha Homams in Sai Gita Ashram. Those Saptaha Homams are for an individual benefit. We invoke, every day we invoke a deity with a desire. To fulfill that desire, we invoke a deity and do the Havan. On the final day, Pujya Sadguruji performs the Sarvadosha Nivarana Mahayajna, that is for Loka Kalyan, for the welfare of mankind. That is Karma Yoga. Because you're not doing for individual benefit, you're doing it for the sake of universal peace, for the universal well-being of all. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Keeping this in mind, this yajna is performed. That is Karma Yoga. There's a wonderful story in the Mahabharata about yajna. After the great Mahabharat war, when King Yudhishthira ascended the throne, he performed the great Rajasuya Yaga. All the learned scholars and the wise men unanimously praised the yajna as unparalleled. Suddenly, a mongoose enters that premises where the yajna is being done. The mongoose has one side of its body golden. It suddenly enters there and rolls itself on the ground. And it hears the learned scholars and wise unanimously praising the yajna of Yudhishthira. The half-golden mongoose then narrated, "What you are saying is wrong. This yajna is not that great." They were all stunned. Why is the mongoose talking like that? Such a great yajna Yudhishthira has performed, and this mongoose is saying it is not great. They were wondering what it is. Then the half-golden mongoose narrated, "A few years back, a terrible famine raged in a particular province and killed many people. There was a pious but very poor family of 4 members, husband, wife, son, and daughter-in-law, who lived a humble and dutiful life. One day, a devoted man offers the pious family a scant offering of flour, a scanty offering, very little flour. They didn't have anything to eat. They were starving. And at that point of time, this devotee gives them a little flour. With that little scanty flour, they made 4 small rotis. Actually, that flour was sufficient for only 1 roti. But as they were 4 people, they wanted to share, and they made 4 small rotis. They offered it to God as an offering, and they were about to take that sanctified food when there was a knock at their door. They were happy to receive a guest who was very hungry. They thought, Atithi Devo Bhava, and shared their meal with him. They gave all the 4 small rotis to him to eat. The Atithi, the guest, had his meal, all the small 4 rotis. He blessed them heartily for their hospitality and went away. But the whole family perished of hunger. They were so hungry, after some time, they perished. Just then, I entered. I means the mongoose is talking here. The mongoose entered, and I rolled myself on the floor. There was a little flour on the ground, and it rolled itself on the floor, meaning, and the flour touched the mongoose's body. The remnants of the flour there touched half of my body and thus turned golden, as you all see now. So half of its body turned golden. It was so because, how did it turn gold? It was because of the purity of the motive of the intensity of the spirit of self-sacrifice, the intense sacrifice they did, the purity of thought that they should, Atithi Devo Bhava, they should serve the guest first without taking into consideration their own hunger. Because of this, half of my body turned golden. Since then, I am on the lookout for another yajna of that type that would turn the remaining half of my body golden. Hey Pandits, what King Yudhishthira is doing here is no great yajna. It is just an ordinary yajna. It has not brought any change whatsoever on my body, because the moment it enters the sacrificial hall, it rolls on the ground and it remains the same. Half of the body is golden, the other half doesn't turn golden. So it is not something great. The assembly meekly submitted the view of the strange mongoose. This is the yajna. So a day passed without the performance of yajna is a day gone to waste. This is what Sri Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita. An ideal family man is he who engages himself daily in the 5 great yajnas. All these 5 yajnas are obligatory or nitya karmas, obligatory duties or nitya karmas. What are they? Deva yajna, Rishi yajna, Pitru yajna, Athithi yajna, and Bhuta yajna. What is Deva yajna? Worship of gods with rituals, what we do every day. We light the lamp in our puja altar. We pray to God. That is Deva yajna. Whatever rituals you do Satyanarayana Vratam, Sai Vratam, Kubera Vratam, you do a Lakshmi Kubera Yajna, any havan you do, all rituals that you follow is Deva Yajna. Rishi Yajna. What is Rishi Yajna? Rishi Yajna means service to Mahatmas, worship of the Mahatmas, study of the scriptures. You should follow the path laid by Mahatmas. You should revere them. That is Rishi Yajna. Pitru Yajna. What is Pitru Yajna? Most of the people think that Pitru Yajna means you have to go down to the departed souls, ancestors, that during the Pitru Paksha Mahalaya Amavasya, what you do is Pitru Yajna. That is Pitru Yajna, no doubt. But before that, you have to respect your living parents. Living parents have to be revered and taken care of. That is Pitru Yajna. Nowadays, it has become common for children to desert their parents, to leave their parents, and the parents helplessly, they join home for the aged or some rehabilitation center because they have no shelter. So one who does not please his parents cannot please anybody or any devata. Remember that. He cannot get the blessings of God. One who pleases his parents only is blessed by God. So Pitru Yajna means living parents have to be revered, and then you think of your ancestors, Pitru Puja. Athithi Yajna, fourth, devoted service rendered to mankind. Somebody comes at the time of lunch, see that you offer him something. Or a beggar shouts near the gate, give him something. You see a poor man on the road, offer him something, not only food, a 10 rupee note, a 20 rupee note, anything you have. Like I said, Sai Baba said, give clothes to the naked, water to the thirsty, food to the hungry. So that is Athithi Yajna. And what is Bhuta Yajna? Feeding the creatures, worshipping Gomata. You feed the creatures, as our Sadhguruji says, feed the ants, put little sugar somewhere in the corner on the floor. Feed the creatures, worship the Gomata, feed the Gomata. That is Bhuta Yajna. Through the meticulous practice of these Pancha Mahayajnas, life becomes prosperous and auspicious. So, we are dealing with Karma Yoga. There is a difference between Karma and Karma Yoga, we already discussed. Remember that. A dacoit, you can say a robber stabs a person to loot him. But that person escapes from the robber unhurt. But the police catch hold of the robber and they put him behind the bars. He is prisoned. Whereas there is a surgeon who holds the scalpel in his hands. That is also a knife, a scalpel, cuts open the stomach to do surgery. And in between the surgery, as the surgery is in process, the patient dies. And what you do? You pay heavy amount of lakhs of rupees to the hospital. You thank the doctor for his efforts and then bring the dead body home. There the robber stabbed the person person is alive, but you put the robber in prison, even though the person is alive. Here the person is dead and you thank the doctor. What is the difference? The attitude behind the karma is different. The attitude of the robber was to kill the person, papa karma. The attitude of the surgeon is to save the patient's life, punya karma. But unfortunately, the patient lost his life. The attitude, see the attitude, the difference of attitude. So this person goes to jail, the robber goes to jail, and here you thank the doctor. That is the difference. In the end, Sri Krishna talks about the twin evils of kama and krodha that constitute the power behind all the sins committed by man. Kama and krodha are wicked twins like Ravana and Kumbhakarna, like Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Raga and dvesha. What is raga and dvesha? Likes and dislikes. They are the manifestations of kama and krodha. Kama is the captain of the 6 vicious enemies in us. 𝘠𝘰𝘓𝘕𝘠𝑎𝑡𝑒 𝘤𝘪𝘮𝘦𝘂 𝘠𝘪𝑗 𝘠𝑎𝑡𝑎 𝑡ेनेदमावृतम, says Sri Krishna in the 3rd chapter. As fire is enveloped by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, as the embryo by the amnion, likewise, this knowledge of the self is enveloped by kama and krodha. Kama is insatiable like fire. Kama can never be appeased. Any amount of fuel may be put in fire, it will not say enough, such as kama. And kama, there's a beautiful example which Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa gives. The camel keeps on chewing the thorns in the desert. As it keeps on chewing the thorns like chewing gum, it keeps on chewing. The thorns prick its mouth and blood oozes from its mouth. And that blood mixes with its saliva and there's a particular taste. And the camel foolishly thinks, these thorns are so tasty. And it keeps on chewing and chewing till its mouth is completely damaged. So kama is like that. There's a beautiful story of Yayati in the Mahabharata. Yayati was one of the ancestors of the Pandavas. He was the son of King Nahusha and Ashoka Sundari. Yayati had conquered the whole world. He married Devyani, the daughter of Guru 𝘠ukrācārya, who happened to be the guru of the demons. But along with Devyani, he took her maid Sharmishta to his empire. After coming to know of Yayati's relationship with Sharmishta, Yayati secretly gets married to Sharmishta also with the maid. Devyani complained to her father, 𝘠ukrācārya, who in turn cursed Yayati to old age in the prime of his life. Yayati begged for forgiveness. 𝘠ukrācārya said, I cannot take back my curse, but if any of your sons is ready to exchange his youth for your old age, you will be young again as long as you wish to remain young. Yayati, now an old man, quickly returned to his kingdom and requested his sons one after another to take his old age and give him youth. None of his elder sons were ready. They did not accept. At last, the youngest son, Puru, came forward and agreed to his father's request. Puru immediately turned old, and his father Yayati transformed into a young man to enjoy life. After years spent in vain effort to fulfill his desires, Yayati finally came to senses. He returned to Puru and said, "My dear son, sensual pleasure can never be fulfilled. It is like the blazing fire. You put any quantity of clarified butter into it, it keeps on blazing more and more, but it never recedes. So, to fulfill my karma, to fulfill my sensual pleasure is like putting ghee in the oven. It is like pouring fuel into the fire and the fire flames blaze high. Take back your youth and rule the kingdom wisely and well." He gives a big thought, Yayati, it is no use of this youth. Yayati then returned to the forest and spent the rest of his life in austerities, meditating upon Brahman, the ultimate reality. In due course, he attained heaven. Now, the senses, the mind, and the intellect are the seat of karma. It functions through them, veiling wisdom. It covers wisdom. Therefore, the first duty of the sadhaka is to control the senses to destroy karma. The nature of the Atma is explained as Indriyani paranyahuhu indriyebhyah paramanaha manasastu para buddhiryo buddhe priyatastu saha. Senses are superior to the body. Superior to the senses is the mind. Superior to the mind is the intellect. And superior to the intellect is the Atman. The Lord ends this discourse of Karma Yoga by exhorting Arjuna to conquer karma, that is in the form of desire, to conquer karma, that is in the form of desire, by the realization of the self. Therefore, the secret of Karma Yoga is do unto others what you expect others to do to you. This is the secret of Karma Yoga. Now we end the session with the recitation of the slokas. First, we'll recite the third dhyana sloka. We'll repeat it 3 times, and then we'll go to the first parthaya, pratibodhitam. Okay? Prapanna parijataya totra vetraikapanaye jnana mudraya krishnaya 𝘰𝘠𝘪𝘴 namaha. Prapanna parijataya Prapanna parijataya Prapanna parijataya Totra vetraikapanaye
𝘠𝘪𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑟𝑎ikapanaye 𝘠𝘪𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑟𝑎ikapanaye 𝘠𝘪𝑉𝑒𝑡𝑟𝑎ikapanaye
Jnana krishnaya
ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय
𝘰𝘠𝘪𝘴 namaha.
गीतामृतदुहे नमः गीतामृतदुहे नमः गीतामृतदुहे नमः
Now we'll repeat the third sloka from the Bhagavad Gita. Niyatam kuru karmatvam.
Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Niyatam kuru karmatvam.
Karmajyayo hyakarmanaha.
Karmajyayohyakarmanaha. Karmajyayohyakarmanaha. Karmajyayohyakarmanaha.
Sharira yatra pichate.
Serera yatra pichate. Serera yatra pichate. Serera yatra pichate.
Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha. Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha. Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Karmajyayo hyakarmanaha.
Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Karmajyayohyakarmanaha.
Sharira yatra pichate. Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
Serera yatra pichate. Na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
Okay. Now we'll repeat from Om Parthaya. Parthaya Namostute Prapanna Parijataya. Okay, then we'll go to the Bhagavad Gita slokas. Start.
Om Parthaya Pratibodhitham Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Muninam Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Rutavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadasadhyayini Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasa Visala Buddhe Pullara Bhindaya Tapatra Netra Enatvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamruta Duhe Namaha. Om Ata Srimad Bhagavad Gita Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayoyosavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya Arjuna Uvacha Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna Nacharajyam Sukhani cha Kim no Rajyena Govindha Kim Bhogajivitena va Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Jatasya hi dhruvo mrutyuho Dhruvam janma mrutasya cha Tasmada pariharyerthe Natvam suchitum arhasi Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayohyakarmanaha Serera yatra pichate na prasiddhyeda karmanaha.
So we finished with the recitation of the Gita. Now we'll end this session and we'll meet in the next session, that is on Tuesday. I think it is 26th July. On Tuesday we'll meet. First we'll say the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhaved. Om Shanti 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 Thank you all for joining this session. Hari Om.